Everyone, and welcome to our Touch Base Thursday for November 3rd. Hard to believe we have already hit November. Tell me how that has happened so fast. Anyway, just a couple minutes here to make sure that I'm live and all of you are able to find me here live. And then we're going to go ahead and get started here in just a couple of minutes. So again, if you're joining me live, please comment and tell me hello. And we will get started here in just a couple of minutes. Here we go. Okay, so I think I'm live where I need to be. So yes, as you're joining me, please say hello, and welcome to Touch Base Thursday for November 3rd, which I don't even know how we got to November this fast. I hope you all had a wonderful Halloween. I did get to see my favorite little trick-or-treater. She came to the house. So that was really, really, really fun. But anyway, as you're joining, please comment and tell me hello. And we will start in just a couple of minutes. Tonight, I'm going to be focusing in on a stamp set that I gave you all a little bit of a heads up to a while back. Let me make sure my comments are coming in here. There we go. Now I'm seeing them. Hi, Luann. Luann's the first one in tonight with a hello. So welcome, everyone, to our, there we go. Now they're coming in. Nancy, hello, Nancy, and Gail. All right, so as you're all coming in, I am excited about tonight's projects because I'm going to be showcasing for you, in addition to the stamp set, I'm going to be showcasing the Stamparatus. So I don't use the Stamparatus a ton in my own stamping. I've been stamping for so many years that I've kind of just, I wouldn't say I've mastered stamping, but kind of figured out my stamping techniques without using the Stamparatus. But the stamp set that I'm going to be showcasing tonight, I really think is going to add some value, and you'll see why by using the Stamparatus. So anyway, hello to Mary Ann and welcome. I'm glad you're here tonight with me as well. So a few things I have in the way of announcements as we are getting ready to get started. So my team retreat was a huge success last weekend. So thank you all for your patience as you waited for me to get back with some of you who had questions about orders and products and all of that. So I appreciate your patience with that because it did take me a little bit more of my time to prepare for that event and host that event, but it was so fun. My team retreat is an event that I do just for my team, and I have people, I actually have Beth who comes in from Ohio. It's a pretty awesome event. So if you join my team and you live local, it's an event that you are not going to want to miss because it's pretty fun. Anyway, a couple of things I have other announcements. So I'm not sure if I mentioned that both girls this year are again doing the Nutcracker through the dance studio. Natalie also tried out and was given some parts to it. So she will also be in the Nutcracker. So if you have availability and you're local to the Mount Pleasant, Michigan area, and you want to see a Nutcracker performance, it is the weekend of December 9th through the 11th. They have some matinee performances on both Saturday and Sunday, evening performances Friday and Saturday. So I would love to have you come and support them and watch them put on an awesome performance. And welcome, Ionia. Nice to have you here. I'm hoping I pronounced your name right. And yes, nice to have you here. And hello to Shireen and Rhonda. Oh, Rhonda's there. Yay. Anyway, on a not so good note, we found out that my daughter Claire has to have her wisdom teeth out. So now we're trying to find a time for her to get them taken out before time that will work with all of her crazy busyness before she goes to Europe. But they're starting to give her some grief, and so she has to have her wisdom teeth out. So we have that we're trying to figure out as well. But anyway, you guys all know the routine. If you share my video, you get into the drawing for a free product, right? Oh, yay! Judy's with us, and so is Shelby. So anyway, I had 2 prizes up for grabs last week. If you shared my video, all you got to do is click on share and share my video so other stamping friends can join us and be part of my presentations as well. And so I have 2 winners. The winner of the pink, this is the polished pink ribbon, is Gail Heisler. So congratulations to Gail. Gail, I think I'll wait and send this when I send your next kit out, if that's okay, so it can all go in one package for you. And then the winner of the classic matte dots. Like I said, I've got lots of these. I don't know why I ordered so many, other than they are very classic and can be used on so many projects. but these go to Courtney Ostendorp. So congratulations to Courtney and to Gail tonight. Okay, up for grabs next week. So share my video. Make sure though that you, if you're the winner, that if I don't have your address, that you get me your address. We have the Pale Papaya ribbon, and then I have the Everescent Elements. These are designed for making some awesome shaker cards. Can you hear that? Woo! All right, so good shaker cards there. Okay, so that is what we will be drawing for next week. So I know that a lot of you saw my post, and I was very humbled and honored to be recognized by Stampin' Up! This week, and I just wanted to put it out here and thank all of you as well for your support of my Stampin' Up! Business. Most of you know this is my hobby turned into a small little business for me. I work full-time at a university, and so I do this. I consider it part-time, but it feels like maybe I do it a little bit more than that. But I love doing it. I love inspiring you. Stampin' Up! Announced just this last week their video for what they called their top performers. And I was at work when that video came out at 4 o'clock. And so I ended up putting my phone to the side, took off my watch, because sometimes I get messages from people who have seen the video before I've had a chance to see it and might tell me where I've placed or what I've done. And I wanted it to be a true experience of watching it with my girls. They both came to my office. My boss came out of his office, and we watched the video. And I learned with them by me that I was placed number 38 in the U.S. Out of like 41,000 demonstrators in what they call the overall demonstrator count for the how you're rated. And the awesome thing about it is that you know, a lot of these demonstrators who do this is their full-time job. And I couldn't do what I do without all of you supporting this and buying from me, buying my class kits, being my friend. I mean, it's just like, wow, like I was just totally floored. And I think I almost cried right then and there in the office because I was so excited about it. And that is, again, like I said, I couldn't do it without all of you. And then they also do, so when they do the overall, it's based on 3 different criteria. It's based on your sales. Thank you all for the wonderful compliments. But it's based on your sales, your leadership, meaning how your team is growing and how they're performing. And then on team building, which is like how I'm growing my team and things like that. And then they have a formula they apply. So that's kind of how they come up with, and you have to kind of be doing a balancing act of all 3 levels. Anyway, I did find after that they posted a document where we can look to see where we were at in each of those 3 categories. I was number 36 in sales in the U.S., so 38 overall, number 36 in sales, number 51 in leadership, and number 45 in my team building. And I'm just very humbled, and I just wanted to personally thank all of you, and I can't believe I'm getting through this without crying, because normally I cry, because I'm just a very emotional person. But again, I just want to thank all of you for your support, and I love creating for you, inspiring you, doing the classes, all of that kind of stuff. And I work really hard to also make this, you know, not be a job, because this is my hobby. This is the only thing I do outside of work is my creating and my crafting. So anyway, yes, I view that as a huge accomplishment, given that, like I said, I am a full-time mom, wife, have a house that needs attention from time to time, working my other job, but I have amazing helpers that help me behind the scenes that wouldn't be able to make it possible if I didn't have that. So anyway, I just had to share that with all of you publicly on my Facebook Live, and give you all a personal thank you. So, whoo, I didn't cry. Yay! All right. So that was the first thing I wanted to mention. So I know it is November 3rd. My card sketch will be posting tomorrow. I have it done. I finally had time last night to create my card to go with it. And when I'm at work tomorrow, I'm going to have my boss pick the winner of the October card sketch. So that'll all come out tomorrow for all of you. And then classes that are going to be opening up. So if you are part of my creative club, you have 3 class options. You're going to have Christmas Barns to pick from. You're going to have a Wash with Beauty. And then I'm doing what I'm calling a Gnome 2.0. I'm doing another Gnome card class. My first one was, thank you, Gail. My first one was so well received. And I was asked to do more gnome stuff. So I have another class coming out, and then my 6x8 gnome album will be opening up as well. And some of you have asked me what the cost of my gnome album is. So it's a 24-page 6x8 album. The cost is $83 to have it shipped to you. A little bit less, about $10 less if you live local and want to pick that up. I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, $73, but let me tell you what it all includes. It includes the page protectors, so 12 page protectors. It includes the album. It includes cardstock for 24 pages, so that's almost a whole pack of cardstock, a whole pack of designer series paper that I used on it, and then it also includes some of those wonderful snowflakes and some of the some gems. So tons of stuff that I used on that, but it makes a really awesome Christmas gift if you have any people who love gnomes in your life. They can just put their pictures in. It's already, there's no stamping, so you don't need to buy any kind of a stamp set for it. When it ships to you, it comes with page, I actually printed the pages out for you, so you'd be able to put them together very, very easily. So that will be posting here soon. So I'm excited about that. Next week, I'm going to make this announcement right now that next week's Facebook Live will need to be moved to Wednesday. So I am the Girls Dance Studio owner, choreographed a musical at the university that I work at. It's called Kinky Boots, if any of you have seen it on Broadway. But we were all asked to go and to get tickets and support her with her musical. So we are going, and the only day that I can go is Thursday because next weekend I'm gone to the Stampin' Up! On Stage event in Indianapolis. So I'll be sure to be posting some sneak peeks of stuff from our new catalog. I'll actually be able to get the new catalog that starts, I think, in I'm not sure. I think it's right after the holidays. It starts in December or January. But I'll be able to post some sneak peeks of things. And so anyway, I am going to need to move my Facebook Live. Again, not canceling it. I'm just moving it to Wednesday of next week. And I think next week I'm going to be actually showcasing the Christmas barns for all of you. The beautiful, beautiful Christmas barns. Okay. Is there anything else that I needed to mention here? Oh, one more thing that I wanted to mention. So my Stampin' Up! Anniversary is coming up. I joined the company on November 24th of 2010. So my 12-year Stampin' Up! Anniversary is coming up the end of this month. And I happened to look at the calendar, and that date falls on Thanksgiving. So what a great weekend to offer some kind of an ordering promotion, ordering incentive, free stuff for you, all of you that order as part of like Thanksgiving, Black Friday, all of that kind of stuff, Cyber Monday. So be looking for the details to come out about that. But I'll be celebrating my anniversary with that. And then I also had a couple questions if I was going to be doing the adhesive bundles again this year for Christmas. And yes, I am. So, I'm actually going to be looking, I have different bags and stuff we're going to package them in, but they make great Christmas gifts. Your dimensionals are always free in those. So be looking for registration to open up on my adhesive bundles again. I usually do them middle of November so that they ship and you get them in plenty of time for December, but they make a great gift for you to give to your crafting friends. So anyway, be on the lookout for more information on my adhesive bundles. All right. With that, let me talk to you a little bit about my projects in my class tonight. So I chose to use tonight the Piece to You stamp set. I fell in love with this stamp set. For me, the true meaning of Christmas is right here in this stamp set. And my mom every year likes to have some kind of a Christian themed Christmas card. And so I knew that this would be the stamp set that I would be using for her card. And then I made a card for myself using this and said, you know what? These cards are turning out beautiful. I just kept creating, and I have 5 cards I'm going to be sharing for you tonight. After I designed them all, I thought, okay, why am I not making this into a class? Because the cards are gorgeous. Wait until you see them. So the class that I'm going to be, what you're going to be seeing tonight is going to be a class. Registration will open hopefully early next week. I need to send it to my friend Delaney, who does all of my email marketing. But this stamp set, the cost of the class, this includes it all shipped to you, okay? So it includes the piece to use stamp set. If you already have the stamp set, you can substitute it with a different stamp set, and we can adjust price accordingly. But it includes the stamp set. It's going to include a pack of pearls, and it's going to include a bolt of ribbon that you will use on all of your cards. After my kits ship, so that's $54. Again, the stamp set, all that product, all the supplies to make 10 cards plus envelopes, so 5 cards, 2 of each design, and it will ship to you. After my classes ship, I do email out a PDF tutorial that includes all of the measurements and the instructions for you to be able to duplicate these cards on your own as well. So be on the lookout for that. I love this one too, Mary. I think it is so awesome. So tonight you're going to be seeing me showcase that stamp set. And because these images are so dark, you really have to use the Stamparatus to be able to do a double stamping and stamp on top of it to get a more deeper color. So you're going to see me use the Stamparatus, or at least how I use the Stamparatus when it comes to stamp sets like this. Okay, so with that, I am going to transition my camera down to my stamp area. You're going to get a sneak peek of the cards. We're going to be doing a little bit of heat embossing, so I'm hoping I can juggle everything that I have here because I got lots of stuff out here to share this awesome stamp set with you. Okay, so with that, let me transition my camera down here, and you'll get a little sneak peek at my cards. And here, aren't they gorgeous? Okay, I'm going to move them all out of the way for right now, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some of the product and things that I've used. So first of all, again, to kind of show you the stamp set, I used I had to move everything down a little bit so my cord will reach for the heat embossing, so bear with me here. Okay, so I'm going to be using the piece to use stamp set. I love both of these images. I had a hard time picking which one to use for my mom, but I'll show you which card is hers, and then I'm going to also show you which card I'm using for my own personal Christmas card this year. So my mom and I are going to kind of have similar cards, but they're going to be a little bit different, so it won't be too bad. Okay, I need to move my chair closer too. Okay, so the first card that we're going to create tonight is this one right here. Okay, now this card I did some heat embossing, and I used this metallic 6x6 designer series paper. So I bought this paper. Thank you, everyone. I love this stamp set. Like I said, it's just awesome. So this is the metallic shimmer paper. I bought this paper and have yet to use it. And so this was the last card that I designed. But you have it in black, so I could have also used the black on this if I wanted to. And then you have it in the evening evergreen, which is what I used on my card. And then there's also this beautiful color right here, which is kind of geared towards more fall themed. But this paper is gorgeous, and one that I haven't showcased or used at all. I just cut into it for the first time tonight, or last night when I was designing. This is the last card that I designed. Okay, so for this card, I used early espresso. It's not early espresso, it's evening evergreen. I used evening evergreen for my card base, and then I used the gold foil sheet for my 5 1/4 by 4 layer. Now, one thing that I will tell you that I could have done, I didn't because I was in a hurry, but I could have cut out this silver piece out of the center, or gold piece out of the center of this, because I'm covering it all up, and it just kind of makes it so that you don't waste as much of your gold foil. But I was in a hurry and really didn't want to take the time to do that. But that's just something that you can do. Then I used black. This is the 5 by 3 3/4, and then finally the 4 1/2 by 3, and yeah, anyways, all 1/4 of an inch smaller. I had to think about my sizes. So these were just going to adhere together. So I'm just going to bring in my Stampin' Seal here, and I'm just going to adhere all of this together. And you can see how adding that gold layer to this card just really makes it pop, doesn't it? That right there just kind of pulls it all together. So they're all just 1/4 of an inch bigger than the other one. And then we're going to adhere this down to my card base. Okay, so far so good, right? Then what I did is I took a piece of my basic white, and I just heat embossed this using some black embossing powder. So let me bring that in here real quick. I actually have two different trays. One is a Stampin' Up tray, one isn't, because I only had one of the trays from Stampin' Up. So I'll show you that in just a minute. But this tray we're going to use for the black because we're also going to emboss with some white later as well. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, this set is gorgeous. All right, so what I'm going to do is I have my stamp mounted to the block. And I'm just going to ink this up really good with the Versamark. Now you saw right before I inked this up that I used that embossing buddy. Now that embossing buddy comes with our embossing essentials kit. And when you do that, all you're doing is taking off any of the excess like static and stuff, okay? So all I'm going to do is stamp this on here. This is just a scrap because I'm going to actually fussy cut around this, okay? But you want to make sure you really stamp this down really good. So I'm just making sure that I get that Versamark on all those corners and that it's going to stick good. Okay, so I'm going to peel that off, and you should be able to maybe a little bit see my stamped image there. And now I'm going to use some black embossing powder. And I'm going to just kind of dump this on top of here and get this to be nice and solid black. And then what I like to do, and again, you want to look at it because this is a solid image, so you want to make sure that you have a good coverage with that embossing powder. So I just like to kind of almost dump the whole bottle on it just because you can see it's adding a little bit more. Now, because you can see I've got some blots here where I don't want it, I always like to turn it over and just kind of tap, tap, tap with your finger. That takes off any of the excess where you might not want it as well, okay? And now we're going to heat emboss that. So let me move my black tray out of the way because the next one's going to be white. All right, so I'm turning on, and the other thing is, so I'm letting my heat tool get kind of warm right now. With that Essentials kit, you also get these awesome tweezers. That's perfect for hanging on to your things. Otherwise, I've melted my fingernails before. Seriously have. So I'm just gonna heat emboss this, and I'm hanging on to that with that tweezers. And you can kind of see it changing up there at the top. And I'm just moving my heat gun down slowly. So sometimes we have a tendency to go like this. It's easier if you just start in one spot. You'll see it change to a gloss, and you want to just keep moving with it all the way down as it changes. And it makes it so much easier for you to kind of know where it's heat embossed and where it's not. You'll just, and to me, it's kind of, my daughter's word, satisfying, watching that change and watching it melt. Okay, so when you think you have it all, I like to move it around a little bit and just make sure that that is indeed all glossy. And you can see that it is, it's all glossy. So I did a good job with that. Again, I will show you the Embossing Essentials kit real quick. I think it's $29, but you get this awesome tray. You get this little brush to brush all your embossing powder back in. You get the tweezers, and you get an embossing buddy. So when we go to do the white later, you'll see me use this other tray. I just got out an old tray so that I didn't have to, I didn't want to have to worry about changing out my embossing powder. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are just going to cut around this with my scissors, and I'm just literally going around it. It's like a great big, you know, nothing fancy here. So I'm just going to cut this out, cut around it. I left a little bit of a white edge on it, but you don't have to. You can cut right up against those black lines if you want. And this I just kind of cut around like that. Okay, so there you have that. Now it's kind of laying a little bit like it'll get more straight. You can see mine's more straight. The heat does this, it makes the paper curl, but you'll have no issues with that flattening for you. I then cut a piece of the gold foil a little bit bigger, and I'm just going to adhere this down to there, and then I just cut the top off with my scissors as well. So we're just going to adhere this down here like that. You can see I'm kind of leaving the same amount of space around the sides, the top, and the bottom. And then I literally just cut this like that. That's it. Nothing fancy at all. All right, then I took my dimensionals and I adhered this down to the card, okay? Now, if you decide to purchase my class and you don't have all the supplies to heat emboss, you could do this just using black ink, and then I would use the Stamparatus to make sure you get good coverage, which you'll understand and see in just a little bit when I get to that part of my presentation tonight. So now I'm just going to put this down with some dimensionals. So you can see here, I'm just adding, I should probably add 5 to this. And I'm going to peel those off. Such a pretty card. I love it. Okay. And the black paper behind here would have looked really pretty as well. So they both, I think, would have done a really good job. And then I just cut a 3/4 inch strip of basic white cardstock, stamped the Peace to You at Christmas, which is one of the sentiments from the, let me move my embossing powder out of the way, which is one of the sentiments from the stamp here, Peace to You at Christmas. Thank you, Pat. And then I'm just going to add a couple dimensionals onto that. So this card, I didn't even use any ribbon on it, but I didn't think it needed it. I think it's just gorgeous the way it is. And then I cut off one of the little ends to this at an angle. And then I topped my card off using some of the pearls, just in a couple little spots. So you could also use rhinestones, but I wanted it to be a little bit more elegant, so I went with my pearls. And whoops, let me make sure that one I'm just going to stick here. It's sticking kind of funky to the end of my, there you go, got it out of the way. Okay, I'm going to add one to the center of the star. And then I just added a couple up here, one there and one down here. And beautiful card that you have using that awesome stamp set and heat embossing. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. Now you could also though use those other 2 patterns. Like I said, you could use this one. And you can see when I cut this down, I cut more of this part off so that I had more of the solid. So when I cut this, you cut off the bottom part of it. Okay. And then you could even do this one as well, and then you could emboss it with a different color. So you could really utilize this paper for all the cards and just change out your colors a little bit. Thank you, everyone. I know I love, 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 love this card. Okay, so the next card that I'm going to be sharing with you all is this one right here, utilizing that same stamp set. I do need to find a cloth to wipe off my stamps. So bear with me while I have get one ready there. But this one right here, isn't this one also gorgeous? Okay, so those of you that are my team members, you're going to get a sneak peek. This is the card that my team will be getting this year as their Christmas card. So every year I send my team a card, and this is the one that I chose to make for them. Okay, this one I used Mary Merlot. Oh, I need to go get my Mary Merlot ink. Forgot that I had a couple of these cards designed and I put things away. So one second. Right there in my pink basket if you want to get one. You may have to wet it down. Okay, so my Mary Merlot ink, I apologize. I had to go get my Mary Merlot ink. So for this one, I chose to use the crumb cake for my card base. Okay, so here's the crumb cake. And then I have the Mary Merlot piece, which is 5 1/4 by 4. And then if you haven't yet purchased this Pearl Essence paper, it is in our annual catalog. It is gorgeous. So it looks like it's pearlized. And then I ran it through the embossing folder with that snowflake folder. Okay. So this I just adhered down to my card like this. Now I'm going to be using a different ribbon on the one tonight. This one I used some gold ribbon, but I'm going to be using my organdy ribbon because that's the ribbon that we're going to be using for the class. And you can see that I just wrapped it right around there. So let me get my ribbon. Totally forgot about this card, you guys. Sorry. This card I designed and made a while ago. And so when I set up for my Facebook Live, I didn't have to design this card and forgot to get all of the supplies out. So bear with me here. There we go. So we're going to use the organdy ribbon on this one. And I'm just going to put the organdy ribbon right around here where these two meet. Okay. And I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive to the front and back there, or the top and bottom. And I'm just going to put this ribbon right around here like that. Okay, that is now ready to be adhered down to my card. And then I'm going to show you how I stamped that awesome image to get it nice and dark. Look how nice and dark that is. There's nothing missing. It's all shaded the same. So you're going to see how I did that. So what I did also is I cut 3 pieces. So I did have to kind of figure out the size of the stamp. And then I just layered them together with the Mary Merlot and with the crumb cake as well. So those 3 are going to get laid down here on the top. And then I put this across the bottom with the Peace to You at Christmas, okay? Now I have 2 cards that I designed similar to this layout. And so the other one I'm just gonna show you at the end. I'm not gonna take the time to actually make it because it's gonna take me a little bit longer tonight with the Stamparatus and to do some of the heat embossing and things like that. So I'm going to move all of this out of the way and I'm gonna bring in the Stamparatus. So how many of you have a Stamparatus? Let me start by asking you that question, because the Stamparatus is perfect for any. I really love to encourage new stampers to use the Stamparatus because I feel that it is really a nice tool. Let me get this one off here. We won't need that one right now. But basically, how it works is it comes with magnets, okay? So you can see my magnets here. Oops, I took off the wrong one. Sorry. Forgot my setup. You'll see it here in a second. Okay. There we go. So it comes with 2 hinged plates. You can see how easy I took the bottom one off. So let's say you were stamping something where you wanted to stamp, it had 2 different stamps. You could stamp one down one way and one the other way, okay? You can see I broke my magnet. So a rule of thumb, when you get the Stamparatus, or if you get it, do not let your magnets hit together and cling together, because when you separate them, whoops, there, I just did it again, but when you separate them, you can see how fast they go together. You don't want to pull, you want to slide, because if you pull, you're going to break your magnet like I did on mine. I also found it much easier to put washi tape on them to be able to pull them up off of my project. And you can also slide them, but you'll see here in a minute how I did that. Now, Stampin' Up! Also has this little, if you're gonna do, and I use it all the time, I find it works much better. But if you were stamping with a rubber stamp like this, you supposedly don't need this. This is if you were stamping with a photopolymer stamp set, because this brings it up a little bit more. I like to use this all the time. I like that extra give it gives, and when you see the little gadget that I use when I use my Stamparatus, you'll understand why. So Stampin' Up! Also sells this grid paper. This grid paper is the perfect size for the Stamparatus as well. They have it both in centimeters and in inches. I'm using the inches side. So what you can kind of see here on my my paper, because this is the one that I use to create my projects, you can see that I kind of have right here little marks that I made, so I know where to put my piece of cardstock, okay? So if that was my bigger piece of cardstock. So this one I'm going to do a little bit different. So what you do is you're going to put your piece of cardstock on here. Now this is how I use the Stamparatus anyway. Okay, and then I'm just going to make little marks so I know. So if I was making this card in duplication, let's say I was making 100 of these cards or 50 of these cards, you would know where to put each one of these pieces of paper. So I like to make little marks so I know. So you can see here that it's right here and right here, okay? So I'm just gonna put that in there like that. And then you're going to take the stamp set. There it is, I have to clean it off. All right, so I'm cleaning off the Versamark from my first card that we did. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to, now this might take a little bit of practice, so I might not be perfect the first time because sometimes you need to do a couple stamping just to kind of figure out where your center is. So you can see mine here is pretty centered. I'm gonna do my best to get this one centered as well. But you put your stamp on here where you think the center is. And then you, whoops, it's sticking to my fingers. And again, I'm gonna make sure that this piece is where I want it to be because it's gonna line up perfect. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your plate Whoops, first of all, magnets, sorry. Magnets have to go in place to hold your piece of cardstock in place. You're going to bring your thing down, your plate, and you're going to push it down, and that's going to stick the stamp set where it needs to be. So now you can see that each time you stamp this, you have perfect placement each time that you bring this over and you stamp down, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to ink this up. So again, if you don't have the Stamparatus, it is a perfect placement tool for people who might struggle with stamping or anything like that. Now, one of my team members makes these, and I meant to message her today, but I know that she'd probably be willing to make more if people are interested in them. But one of my team members, Pat, made this awesome little handled, I'm going to show you how you use it. So sometimes some ladies struggle. So you can see I inked that up, and I'm just going to bring this over. And then you have to push this down. Well, this right here makes it really easy to be able to push that down and get that stamp to go onto your paper, okay, without having to sit here and go like this. So if anyone's interested in that, let me know. I'm sure I can hook you up. Now I'm going to pull this up, and you're going to see that I may not have the best coverage. Can you see where I have some of that isn't covered? I'm hoping you can see here by Joseph's arm, it's not the best coverage, and it's not very dark compared to the sample. I'm hoping that you guys can see that. But because I have that placement there, I can ink this up a second time, and I can do the exact same thing again, bringing it over, putting it down, and then stamping again. Because that placement is there. Now don't make a liar out of me. Woohoo! Look at that coverage that I got. So you can keep doing that over and over and over and over again until you get the right kind of color saturation that you want on your projects. So now if I was going to stamp another one, I would just pull these out of the way, pretend this is the right one. I'd put it in here, add the magnets again, ink it up, and do the exact same thing all over again, okay? So that is the joy of a Stamparatus and how easy it is to use it. Okay, so with that, we're gonna finish, if you can wipe that off for me. With that, we're going to, I do have a helper down here tonight, so anyway, with that, we are going to, so Noreen, you're asking me if the label is not straight on your rubber stamp, how do you, okay. So there's a secret to making sure that you try to get your stamps to be aligned as perfect as possible. I wonder if I have a stamp set. I'm not sure how some of you add your stickers to it, but you can see here, I actually add the back to this part, or I keep that piece. Some people leave them so that they kind of clang around in their stamp sets. Or their cases. I don't do that. So when I'm adding a sticker, you can see mine are pretty gosh darn even. So what I do when I'm doing a stamp set is the pages come, or the stickers come with slotted, and I take those off, and then I take my stamp and I put it right down, right into the spot pretty perfectly, push it down, and then when I peel it up, the sticker comes with it. Okay. The other thing is, if you're having problems with that, you may have to just adjust and trial and error it a little bit before you consider it perfect placement, before you do all of your stamping. But that is the secret. You want to try to have your stickers on here as best as you can and as straight as you can. I should do you asking that question, Noreen, I should do a little video on how I adhere my stickers to my stamps, because some people try to actually peel them off and stick them on top, and that doesn't work. You're definitely going to have some crooked stickers and have them be a little bit not accurate for you. Okay, so from here, let me bring my sample back in, but you can see it's going to dry beautifully, and I'm going to have beautiful coverage here. So I'm just going to go back to adding my layers onto this. So I'm going to add this one down there. Let me bring my card back in. My one I'm making, actually. And then we're going to adhere this one. So these pieces of Mary Merlot and crumb cake are just cut a little bit bigger, 1/4 inch bigger than the other piece. And then this is going to get adhered down with some dimensionals as well. So here we go, dimensional, 4 dimensionals there. Yes, Philomena, I have lots of layers going on, but it just makes that card, doesn't it? Okay, and we're gonna put that on there like that. And then the last piece that we're going to do is the piece to you at Christmas, which I need to clean off because I didn't clean it from my last card. And like I said, lots of moving pieces and parts tonight, but it's all good. And I'm just gonna stamp piece to you at Christmas on there, and then just gonna trim this off. And I added that to my card with dimensionals as well. And if the big ones are too big, you can always use some little ones, but I'm gonna add those. And then a sample that I made for my team Christmas card, I used some champagne rhinestones because I used the gold ribbon because it's what I had. But for this one, I'm gonna use pearls, okay? So like I said, this card is one if you're my team member. And yes, I made them. It was a project that I did. And I love sometimes just spending time creating and crafting, and they were a lot of fun to stamp. So anyway, so there you have it, that beautiful card. And I'm hoping that you can see how the Stamparatus really made that come to life and gave that really good coverage. Now, the other card that I'm going to show you that I made, that is a similar template. But this one I used the church. Now this is my personal Christmas card. So when I say personal, my family, my friends, they'll be getting this card. It's the same version of this one. But for this, I used the Knight of Navy to stamp that beautiful church. Again, you can see it's the exact same layout. Just in the same pearlescent designer or paper that I used back here that I embossed with that snowflake. I used the organdy ribbon, the white organdy, and then just layered it with, this is Fresh Freesia paired with Knight of Navy. And like I said, same thing with stamping with that Stamparatus. Thank you. Aren't they gorgeous? I know. I really, really like them. All right, this next card that I'm going to share with you is one that's almost a case from the catalog, other than I added some layers to it because I'm a layering fanatic who likes to have lots and lots of layers. So for this card, I chose to use the crumb cake for my card base. So if you were to look in the catalog, you will see this right down here. But you can see that I added some Knight of Navy behind it and did a little bit more layering with it. But how gorgeous is this card? All right. So for this one, we're just going to layer it with some Knight of Navy. So this Knight of Navy is cut 5 by 3 3/4. So you have a little bit more of the crumb cake showing. And then we're going to do some stamping on the white piece, okay? So I'm going to bring my Stamparatus back in. This time I'm going to be using the Knight of Navy ink. So again, you can kind of keep using the exact same piece of paper if you want. So for this one, again, I'm just going to kind of mark it. And I'm marking it for tonight mainly because if I lose it or move it, I know where to put it. But this is why I like to mark them, because then if you wanted to make more, you have it. So I'm going to put this on here like that. And then I'm just going to add my magnets. And then we're going to take the stamp off of this. Thank you, Maureen. I love these too. And this I just put into the center of, I think I put it up a little bit closer. Let me look at my sample. Because I wanted to have a little bit of space down here to add the little embellishments and the stamped part. So this is going to be up a little bit higher than being centered. Same kind of thing. We're just going to leave the magnets there. I'm going to bring this down, and that is going to pull up my stamp. And then using the Knight of Navy, we're going to ink this up. And I found that you also want your ink pads to be pretty juicy. So this one's not quite as inked enough. So this one we may have to even do 3 times. But because of my placement and with my magnets there, we're going to be okay. And then I'm taking my little handy dandy little thing. This is so easy. So if you use a Stamparatus, find something. Or like I said, if you really want one, I know I can hook you up. but it makes it so much easier. Okay, can you see how that still doesn't have the best coverage? I'm hoping you guys can see there's like lines in here. So we're gonna do it a second time. Now, if you're okay with that, then awesome. I mean, it's still beautiful, but on my solid stamps, I like to have full coverage when I'm stamping with them. And I just want that ink to absorb right in there. To me, it just gives it that little bit of a professional touch. And that's kind of what I'm going for with it. So you can see that that is so much better. Okay, look at that, isn't that gorgeous? All right, so I'm gonna make sure and let this dry really good because we're gonna do some coloring with blends. And with blends, you're really supposed to use Memento ink. I did not use Memento ink, I used the navy ink, but let me bring this back in so you guys can see it. So I am gonna let that dry just a little bit, and I'll tell you what blends I used on these cards tonight. So I used Real Red, I used Crumb Cake, I used the Balmy Blue, and then I also used a color lifter to lift a little bit of the color up. I always start with the lights first, so I'm going to pull in all of my lights, and I'm going to start coloring. I think that's pretty dry. So I did the light first on Joseph's hat here, and then, or his, I'm not sure what this is called off the top of my head, but anyway, so we're going to color this in the light Real Red, okay, and this goes all the way down here. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay, and you'll see me do some of the blending here in just a little bit. Oops, I forgot this little piece right here. And then I did the this is the Balmy Blue light, so we're going to color this all the way down. You can also see that I added a little bit of a shadow using this to the outer edge of my outer edge of this. This is just to add a little bit of a shadow, and all I did was go right around the outer stamped lines. Nothing fancy, just coloring. Thank you, Shireen. Yes, this is just gorgeous. I have to agree. This is probably my favorite card, but it's a complete case from the catalog. So it's one that you guys could easily do. I mean, it's right there. You could also use black ink if you wanted to. I just chose to use the navy since the navy was the color that I used to pair this card with. Okay. So just gonna color this real quick. Color this in. Baby Jesus, I think I colored this color. Yeah, I did. And then up here. And then I'm going to go in with the darker color in just a little bit. Let me just finish coloring this in first. Okay, so then I went in with my darker color and I just kind of outlined the edge of my coloring. So this, I think I colored the whole color. Just going to kind of shadow this a little bit. And then I'm going to go on top of it with the color lifter in just a little bit as well. I don't think I did anything with the red. The blue, I did use the darker blue and kind of went up top here and then down here on the bottom. Oh, I forgot to color that in. I'm going to color that in dark. So if you ever color in something and it's dark and you don't like it, you can always color lift it. That's the magic of the color lifter. All right, so now with the color lifter, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to kind of go right on top where I did that dark. And you can see I'm just kind of blending on top of it. It's going to blend it together just a little bit better for me and make it all kind of match together. And it just blends it right together. I'm telling you, that is just so awesome. Okay, so from there, isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. We're just going to adhere this down to the card right in the middle. So again, those of you that may have been joining me late, this is a class that I've decided to offer, last minute add-on for the month of November. The class will include the stamp set, which is a $23 value. It will include a whole pack of the pearls. It will include a bolt of the ribbon, and you'll get the 2 of these or the 4 of these for the card. But the cost is $54 to have it shipped to you with all the supplies for you to be able to make 2 of each one of the 5 cards that I'm showcasing tonight. The only thing is you'll have to provide your own inks and all of that because you'll have your own stamp set. But the awesome thing is you'll also get emailed a full PDF tutorial with all of the measurements and the instructions for you to know what colors of inks and things you need. But when in doubt, you could really substitute just black for all of these and it would be gorgeous. All right, I then cut a piece. I did use the cherry cobbler and I cut a piece 1 inch, stamped the light of the world on this one. And this I put on the bottom down here using some dimensionals. So if you're interested in this class, you can send me a private message after my video, or you can wait for the actual link to open up, which will be early next week. All of my classes for November will be opening next week. I just have to send them off to my marketing person who creates them all for me. And I'll be doing that tonight and tomorrow. So I then used the little, these are the open leaf trinkets. And so I put a couple of these on here with some glue dots. Again, copying directly from that awesome sample that we have right in the catalog. So I'm going to put a glue dot on this. And I'm going to stick one down here like that. And then the other one, and because I use dimensionals, I can get right underneath there really, really good. I love these trinkets because they're nice and flat. And the other one's going to go there. And then the final thing I did was top this off again using some rhinestones, pearls. Okay, so I put one there. I put one in the center. I did add one. Whoops, they're flying everywhere. Flying pearls. Now they're mad at me. I did put one down there. All right. Doesn't have adhesive on it because I'm doing it a little too fast. There we go. Okay, and one up there. But yes, isn't that awesome? So there is that card that I created for you. Okay, I've got one more card left to create for you. This card is the one that I'll be making for my mom for her Christmas card. And this one and the one I'm going to be showing you last year are probably my favorite. And this one is this one right here. Look how gorgeous this card is. Hi, Courtney, and welcome. Courtney, you were the winner of one of our prizes tonight for sharing, so congratulations. All right, so this one right here, I did a top fold card. So I would put a piece inside of here that's for white to be able to do your stamping or your sentiment. On my Facebook Lives, I don't usually take the time to create, but you know, you can always do the insides. You can also do your envelope, all that kind of stuff. But this one, I actually cut this cardstock to the 1/8 of an inch, and I don't do that a lot. So she will. Kay's chuckling because she's probably going to be the one making these. So I hope she doesn't get too upset with me for cutting to the 1/8 of an inch. But can you see the 1/8 of an inch? Just I have the black behind here, and then the starry sky, and then the white. It just gives it that beautiful look. It makes this card so classic. So for this one, I used basic black, and you've seen here where instead of my normal fold, I did it the opposite way. So it's going to be a top folding. So this was cut 4 1/4 by the 8 1/2. Then I scored it at 5 1/2 to give it the same size card that the other ones are. It's just going to open from the top instead. I then have lots of layering to do. So you can see here I have the basic white cut 5 by 3 3/4. So this is going to be adhered down to my card, and you're going to have that beautiful black edge showing, and that is actually a little bit more showing than normal. Then these are the pieces that are cut to the 1/8 of an inch. So I have the basic black, and then the Starry Sky. So you can see that little bit. It's not a full 1/4 inch. It's cut to the 1/8. And then you have the basic white that will layer on top of that. But that is what makes this card just look a little bit, it just pops, right? I know I love these colors together. So I'm not going to adhere the white down just yet because we're going to be using the Stamparatus on that stamp here in just a little bit. So I'm going to adhere, and I have to remember that this one's 1/8 of an inch, so I need to make sure I line this one up a little bit better. There we go. I'm going to put this to the side so that we can work on that white piece real quick. So for this one, I used the, yep, you can just set it there. So for this one, I used the Starry Sky ink. So Starry Sky and black for the win on this card. And this one, we're going to do the exact same thing with. So that is the marks that I had, the first marks that you saw. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing here, put that down there like that. And then this is up near the top. And I did that so that I had space on the bottom. Here's where I used that white embossing powder to do the Silent Night, Holy Night, okay? And I'm just going to, it looks a little crooked. So this is where if it's crooked and stuff, you're gonna wanna have a couple pieces that you can just play with. Whoops, and then I moved it with my finger. But once you have the placement where you want it, it makes it really easy to kind of keep on doing these. All right, I'm going to go with that. I might be a little off, but we're going to just go with it anyway for the purpose of the video tonight. So this one, I'm just going to try to put that down a little bit there. Sticks to my fingernails. All right. Yes, a gold layer on this would be pretty, or even a silver layer would be pretty on this card. Any of that would be awesome. Okay. So hopefully I got my placement. I think I have it a little off, but for purposes of doing my video, the other two were spot on. So I guess I'm allowed to have one maybe not be quite spot on, right? All right, so we're going to push this down again. I'm bringing in my handy dandy little handle thing. This just makes it so much easier. Yeah, it's a little crooked, but you get the gist of it. So you can see again that did not do a really good stamped image. Part of my issue is I can't get my head in there too far to make sure I was straight on the top because of me having my video there, my camera right there. But I'm just going to keep going with it so you guys can see. I'm not going to actually put this whole card together because I don't want to have a crooked one. I'm too picky. But can you see how doing that just really gives you that beautiful color? Now that looks really dark, but it will dry a lot lighter. It'll dry a lot lighter. And then all I did, I'm gonna move this out of the way and I'm gonna bring my sample card back in because I'm not gonna take the time to finish putting it together since we're already upwards of 8 o'clock. I knew this would take a little bit longer tonight. But there's my finished card. I did heat emboss that with black or with the white embossing powder. I'm using the Silent Night, Holy Night, and then adding some pearls to it. But look how gorgeous that card is. So let me bring in all of my cards real quick so that you can see all of them. Again, this is going to be a class that I'll be offering. It does include the stamp set. If you already have the stamp set, you can substitute with a different stamp set of your choice. But I love how all of these cards turned out. Let's see, I'm missing one. Oh, this one. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, the other thing, if you're interested in placing a minimum $30 order, you can receive 3 of these cards already made up in the mail for free, okay? And I didn't have time today. Actually, I forgot to do my new host code for November, so my October one is still out there. If you go to my website at kimsbasementbunch.com, there's a host code right there. Use the host code, put in a minimum order, and you'll receive 3 of these beautiful cards in the mail to you. So anyway, I hope that you've enjoyed my presentation tonight with the beautiful Piece to You stamp set. Again, the class will open up early next week with the registration link. You can also message me on Facebook or through email and let me know if you're interested in the class as well. Like I said, I does use about 3 or 4 different inks. I did use some black embossing powder, but you could also use black here if you wanted to. So anyway, and if you don't have the Stamparatus yet, I really encourage you to consider getting it. That Stamparatus is a lifesaver when inking and stamping for placement. If you miss a little bit or off a little bit. So anyway, thank you all so very much for joining me tonight. And one last big thank you to all of you who support me with my Stampin' Up! Business, who watch me week after week or catch the replay, play my bingos, buy my classes, all of it. None of what I do would be possible without all of you. And so I just want to thank you all so very much. And a reminder again that next week my Facebook Live will be on Wednesday instead of Thursday, so that I can support our dance studio owner who choreographed a musical that a lot of us dance moms are trying to get to. So, all right. Thank you all so very much. Have a great evening, great weekend. And thank you all. Love you all so very much. Bye, everyone.